Hi, so today I'm gonna show you how to make a miniature gnome.
Hello, down there. Hello, can you hear me?
Bill?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, up here. Hello. Yeah, it's me, it's Bill from Bill Making Stuff. And I think I'm a big disembodied head at the moment, but that's not important, don't worry about that. I'm here to invite you to the Big Bot Bash.
The Big Bot Bash. I
What
know
is
what
the Big Bot Bash you are? I can't really hear you
it.
from up here. I'll assume you said, what is the Big Bot Bash? Basically, it's a big YouTube collaboration where we take this junk bot generator. There you go. You take that, you roll a dice, you get your little prompts, and you build a robot using those prompts. You can interpret them however you like. Build a bot, make a video. You know, stick it all in a playlist. Everyone can see each other's. You know how a YouTube collaboration
Yeah, YouTube collab. I'll make something gnomey next time.
Am I lonely? No, I'm not. I'm not lonely. Is that what you said? I can't really hear you properly up here, but no, I'm not lonely. No, I just enjoy working with like-minded people. Just because I sit upstairs in a little attic on my own all day. I'm not lonely. Anyway, I got to go because you know, I've got to go into a party.
I don't do parties. I have miniatures.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'll see you at the end of the collaboration. How do I get out of this? Do I just move my head back, or do I have to like? Is there like a magic word or something? Hold on, I'll just move back. That's it.
Okay.
I think I've got it.
Catch you later. Anyway, let's make a bot. It's time that I channel my inner engineer, technology, future person. The universe needs more bots. Or at least Bill does. He's making us use this junk bot generator, so that is what I'll do. Alright, let's roll up a bot. For the body, I got 1, which is belly full. For the head, I got 10, which means a fishbowl. I feel like I already have a pretty fun idea for that. For the arms, I got a 16, which is armored, the easy one. For the hands, I got 5, which is kaboom. Okay, that's a fun one. And for the legs, I got a 12. Stumpy. Oh yeah, give me a little stumpy legs. And then for the flavor, we got 5, which is moldy. Awesome. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm a bit too excited to start working and I was a bit too hasty with the design, but I think for a rough thing, it's quite nice. What I'm basically gonna do, I'm gonna make this cute little guy with a fish helmet, and I wanna inspire him by like one of those vintage diving suits, because the fish fits really well with that. For like the kaboom and armored arms and hands, I thought it'd be really cool to have like one of those big boat cannons, and then I want to give him really stumpy legs. So yeah, let's get started because my brain is all over the place. This is when I realized I have not told you that I'm making a stop motion puppet and not a miniature. I did a major in stop motion back in college, so I thought I'd bring my own set of skills to the table. I don't have much experience with sci-fi, so I wanted at least one part of the build to be familiar. I started off by building the armature. I thought of using a professional one, but I wanted to see if I could play around with some beads. And then regular armature wire with balsas seemed a better fit. It's also way cheaper. I put a thinner wire over the thick wire because I've had too many puppets with snapped arms, and this gives it like a little extra strength. I found these see-through Christmas balls and then a bike light that I thought would work for the head. That meant that I had to slice this ball in two to actually get the light into the head, which proved a lot harder than I thought it would, as they turned out to be glass and not plastic. I then tried this red one, which wouldn't allow my light to shine through, which I decided would be a problem for future Tina. But cutting into it, I quickly found out that also was definitely glass. So I had a tiny breakdown, and I put the head aside while I thought of a better solution. I then made some feet. These had to be heavier material so he could actually stand, so I used Sculpey. I tried to make them big and flat so he'd be able to stand on his own 2 legs when he grew up. While those baked, I got up, well, at least tried to cut up some sports bandage to make sure he doesn't sprain any ankles or wrists. To that wrist, I attached a hand made from green stuff, and then it was time, in true Bill Making Stuff fashion, for beads. I then tried to put the feet on, but I might not have baked them right, and considering this one crumbled in my hands, something was definitely wrong. So I just switched to trusty beads for the feet. I needed something to make the cannon out of, so I got out my currently overflowing bits box. Please pay no attention to me knocking over my magical plant. There were also more googly eyes in my bits box, so I gave my new Dremel some more personality. This tool that has changed my life was sponsored by my patrons. Thanks to all of them for supporting me. Here I drilled some holes so I could attach my Canon and then realized I had to strip my arm in order to attach it. I don't know if this day was more building or more destroying. More beads for detail, and then I lathered it in this super strong 2-part glue. While holding that while it dried, I bought some more Christmas ornaments online, which I had big hopes for. Then I used one of my favorite hobby materials that I always use when I'm not sure what to do. Foam clay. It's so light and it dries flexible and it's great for stuff like this. You can smooth it out with a little water and it dries on its own pretty fast. It's not easy to sculpt, but it's great for something like bulking out the body. Okay, so, day 2. This is what it's looking like today, which is definitely not much, but it's a good base to work from. Now, I had a bit of a struggle to figure out how I was gonna do the head. I bought these Christmas decorations online, and I'm hoping it's the perfect size. I could put them up on top, and they're already in 2 halves that like click together really easily, so I can attach the bottom half and then I can open it whenever I want to turn on or off the light. So hopefully that works. Oh, don't shine the light into my eye. So I wasn't going to let the feet crumble on me again, and I made them out of milliput and green stuff this time. I then cut out pieces of EVA foam for the arms and legs. I learned if you just glue them together pretty messily and then giving them a careful polish makes for a pretty smooth finish. It also works on the foam clay once it has dried. Then I used EVA foam again to cut out the shoulder piece. For the head, these Christmas ornaments were definitely a winner. I drilled a hole in it and I used some milliput to attach it. Always use the leftovers for a weird texturing tool. For the fingers, you'll never guess it, beads! I can't believe how well this worked. I left a little space between the beads so they could still move, and I thought they looked like pretty cute fingers. Finally, the basic shape was done and I could move on to decorating. Here's some rainy ASMR crafting for you. I used even more EVA foam as circles for the diving helmet. For the side bits, I added some of that checker tape that's especially made for making miniature windows. Onto the finishing touches, I of course had to add rivets. No montage, because I work way too chaotically to edit something like that. The rest of what I added is just some stuff like buttons, gauges, some tools on his belt, and just more visual interest in general. Okay, so day 3, this is what we're at. Everything has dried pretty properly except one of the beads of his fingers fell off, but we can fix that. His head is quite movable, so I'm pretty happy with that. The electronics, it's a bike light. So it's really easy to get his head off and then press the button and then he has his little light. So now it is painting time. I feel like I'm not the person to go to for a painting tutorial because I have a pretty chaotic painting process. I like paint over another bit that was properly painted and then I paint over that, and I feel like it's just like back and forth of like little mistakes, but in the end it's always something, and I think I'm getting at the point where this is starting to look good. So this is it. I know he doesn't look entirely like a drawing and that he's also not a miniature, but I really wanted to make a stop motion puppet, and because I really like Bill's stop motion, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity. I might turn off his light because it's shining in my eye. I can use him as a torch. The thing I used for the light is an actual bike light, so in theory I could put him on the front of my bike and use him as a bike light. That would be legal, right? I'll show you a close-up in a sec, but first of all, check out these other people's videos. They made some awesome things and completely different from what I had, so I think it's worth watching them all. Thank you for watching. Like him. No, I cannot say it. I cannot say it. Roll the glamour shots.